Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marian. In today's video, we're doing Let's Talk Monday, and the topic of today is about personal preferences. Why do people trip so much about people's personal preferences? Is it okay to have personal preferences when it comes to finding your mate, or even the type of friends that you want to have, the type of career, schools, areas, states, cities, communities that you want to live, just personal preferences in general. But before I get started, don't forget to subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and always share this video because sharing is caring. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. So brows are done because I just did not want to waste any time on that. So I am going to do a quick eye look, and any and everything that I'm using is the same products from March Shop My Stash. So if you're ever curious, please go check that video out because I am going, into more detail as to what I am using. But, just to keep this video short and sweet, if I can keep it short and sweet, I just don't want to boggle down in talking about the products because then I'll kind of get off track in what I also want to say. So when it comes to personal preferences, I really feel like, everyone is entitled to their own choice of who they want to date, who they want to be in a relationship with, the type of friends that they want to, be associated with. But oftentimes when people talk about their personal preferences, it comes with negative feedback. A lot of times people get very upset when a person indicates the type of person that they like, especially if it has something to do with body type. Then people will say, oh, you're body shaming. Body shaming does occur, but I think people need to have some type of sense of discernment to know the difference between body shaming and just basically stating, I like a particular body type or a particular look, because there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, I don't feel like a person should be forced to like something that they don't like. For instance, personal preferences when it comes to, let's talk about body types. So you'll oftentimes have people who say, oh, I only want to date a certain size. There are some people who, in regards to men, they don't want to talk to someone that they consider maybe overweight, and they want to stick to a certain type of woman. Maybe there are men who like petite women. There are men who like slim, thin, skinny women. There are men who like, thick women, slim, thick women. And then there are a lot of men who love BBWs, or just oversized women. There's nothing really wrong with that, with having that type of preference. And same way with women, there are women who like only slim dudes. There are women who like the dad bod. And then there are women who like super duper muscular type of dudes, athletic bodies. There's nothing wrong with having those type of preferences. However, there is an issue if you are speaking negative about the body types that you don't like. It's okay to say, no, I want someone who, works out and has a certain physique without putting down the next. You get what I'm saying? Like, you'll see on social media where when a person is speaking on what they like, they oftentimes have to speak on the negative aspects of the other types that they just claim that they will won't date or be in a relationship with, and that's where I think draws a line for me, but then you have people who will come after that person, even if they haven't said anything negative about other body types, to drag that person based on their personal preferences. And that right there doesn't really make sense to me, because what you like doesn't necessarily mean that the next person like it. And what that person like doesn't mean that you will like it. Everyone is entitled to like what they like. Just be respectful about it. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like others should respect that person's preference as well. Also, when it comes to personal preferences, what I've noticed is when someone speaks on their personal preference and that person fits in that mold that the person says that they won't date, or they're not attracted to, or it's not a part of their preference, they take offense to it as if they're directing it to them, Oh Lord, that was like hard to get out. But they just get offended super duper easily, and that person is just living in their truth and being honest, because you definitely don't want someone to be in your face leading you on, knowing good and well that they have no intentions on taking you seriously, because you're not even their type. Everyone has a specific type. So growing up for me, when we talked about having a type, it was dealing with more like skin color, what type of guy you like, what type of girl you like. Growing up in Houston, it was always like back in the 90s, guys were real like heavy on dating a yellow bones. That was just like the thing to rap about, to talk about, and all of that, because that was their personal preference. But times changed, things shifted, and light brights were no longer the chosen preference. Everything shifts, everything changes. So I don't get offended if a person tells me they prefer to date someone that's, of a darker skin tone. Kudos, because I know I'm not for them. And I'm not going to be like, well, what's wrong with me? Why you can't date a person that's light skinned? What's wrong with light skins? I respect it. And then I move on. It's just not a big deal for me to be badgering someone into trying to understand why they don't like my skin tone, when it's just honestly them being respectful by being honest to me. Now, if that person would come to me and just downright just, oh, I like such and such because, and then just go ham and be disrespectful in regards to, why they won't date a person of my skin tone, then it's not really even about the skin tone anymore. It's just about the just blatant disrespect, because you can tell me why you don't like something, why you prefer something, and still be respectful, if you get what I'm saying. Like for me, I always was attracted to like the darkest, chocolatiest men ever. I mean, that was my type. I was just like the black of the berry. I was just one of those type of people. But I didn't marry super duper chocolate men, because their skin tone doesn't necessarily mean that that person is right for me. That's more on the superficial, physical, outer, preference, attraction. But when it comes down to the real nitty gritty of what holds a relationship and makes it complete and make it work is definitely beyond some of our superficial personal preferences. It's okay to still have those personal preferences, but then you also have to like look beyond all of that and really be like, okay, well, am I going to pass up someone who may not fit my type just because they don't fit my type? They may be the perfect person for me. Like, I'm not that immature enough to be like, he's not my type, so I'm not going to give him the time of day. You know, yes, I liked Chocolate Good Boy, but at the same time, I wasn't going to be like, oh, I can't talk to you because you're not dark enough. You know, I was never going to tell someone that. Like, I am just the type of person that'll be like, okay, I can give it a shot. May not be, you know, my type per se, but I'm not going to just be an ass and just miss out on my blessing, which some people do. And that's okay because you like what you like. But I am a little bit more open-minded. And like as you get older, those personal preferences changes. It changes based on what you want in a relationship. It based on where you are in life when it comes to dating. Like what my personal preference was in my teens definitely changed from when I was in my 20s, and it definitely changed from when I was in my 30s. So, you know, as you go through life, all of that will change. However, I don't like when people, like I say, try to force you to change your whole thought process because they feel that you should be open to dating anybody when that's not the case. There's nothing wrong with, I'm going to keep saying this, there's nothing wrong with having a personal preference. You like what you like. And honestly, it be the men who get dragged on social media by the women when they mention the type of woman that they like. Especially when they get to talking about, oh, I want a woman with a natural body that doesn't wear weave and wigs. Oh, baby, the women let them have it. But that's not who y'all be gassing up on social media. These women wouldn't be doing all this if y'all wasn't, you know, like liking their pictures and gassing them up and stuff like that. So a lot of times I think people need to understand the difference between social media and reality. Yep, those men probably gassing up the Instagram models or whatever, but I guarantee that's not who they want to. Well, I'm not going to say all. Who they want to wife up. And if they do, again, that's their personal preference. That's for them to like who they like. I'm not going to tell a guy, so you only like chicks with big booties. What's wrong with the flat booties? Why you don't like a chick with a flat booty? Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Now, if a person's personal preference hinders you from progressing in life, like in your career, stuff like that, that's discrimination. So that's a little bit different. But when it comes to like more like on the surface level, it's not gonna make you or break you or affect your bills, then yeah, just let them people like what they like. Another one, when it comes to personal preferences, is what I notice is when it comes to education. Like, you have some people who just are diehard HBCU alumni and they feel very passionate about it. And that's fine because I support all of my HBCUs. But you have some African American kids that want to go to other schools that may be predominantly white institutions, and it could be based on their field of study. And then they may have received full scholarships, full rides to those schools as well. But you have some people, and I have a relative that kind of like got mad at my daughter because she told her like what her plans were for college, and she was just like, why not are you paying for it? Are you going to pay for her education? It's not your choice, because she needs to pick the school that she's going to attend, she's going to excel, and she's going to complete. She's not going to college for me. She's not going to college for anyone else. She's going to college for herself, because this is her life. This is the beginning of her journey into adulthood. So she has to make these type of decisions which will guide her and affect her life. But to project your vision of things onto another person because your preference differs from theirs don't make sense to me. And I feel like if you are not assisting financially, you have no opinion whatsoever. Because it kind of circles back to my previous video, respecting people's personal choices. So you respect people's personal preferences. Now, we're not going to just pretend like, personal preferences don't have cons, especially when the choices you are making, your preferences are basically keeping you, at a standstill. You have some people who like a certain type of guy, and that keeps them in a toxic environment, toxic relationship. Whereas there are other people who find them attractive and they just won't give them the time of day based on your preference. And in those type of situations, I can't say that the person should be forced to date someone that they are not attracted to, because if you're not attracted to them, you're not. But also, don't let your personal preferences hold you back. Don't let your personal preferences keep you around chaos and toxicity. Don't be that person, that for my man type of situation where you getting yourself caught up and your life ruined because you like a certain type of man. You like a thug, you like this, you like that. At some point in time, the thug ain't gonna be the one for you. Also, personal preferences could relate to where you choose to live. Some people will consider some to be bougie if they want to live in a certain community or whatever. But it could be based on multiple things, especially if you have kids. Then it could be the school district. It could be the crime rate of that community. And it could be the convenience of what's around. So choosing where you want to live can, get negative feedback too, because you just have some people who just always have something to say. Oh, you think you too good to live in such and such. Yes, I do. And are you going to pay my bills? Are you going to pay my mortgage? Are you going to pay my rent? So why are you concerned about where I'm moving to? Are you going to pay any of the bills? It is my personal preference to choose where I want to live. I know I only really kind of harped on or focused a lot on personal preferences when it comes to like body type, but there are other personal preferences, such as a person may only want to date a person of a certain, financial range that probably would be within their financial range. Or you may have people who only want to date people who have a certain level of education. All of those are like personal preferences. You even have people now who, only want to date certain people based on like their credit score. Those are like personal preferences that they have when it comes to dating. And, it's just, the list can go on and on and on when it comes to preferences. It's just based on what you like, what you're looking for. And then that's how you determine who you want to give your time to. You may have people prefer someone who has no kids. That's a personal preference. You may prefer to date someone who have kids because you have kids, and they'll be a little bit more understanding. And then you may have a preference to date someone who have kids, but they have to be like of a certain age. You may have a personal preference where you don't want to date someone who's been married before. You want someone that you can experience that with for the first time. You also have people who date outside of their race only. That is not uncommon whatsoever. But it's okay for you to do that as long as you're not putting down your own. And oftentimes I see that you'll see our Black men, when they talk about who they date outside of, a Black woman, they're often following up with being very, very negative and disrespectful when it comes to Black women. Like who you like, love who you love. You don't have to put others down. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let's talk. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts when it comes to personal preferences. What issues do you have when people talk about personal preferences? Let's talk about it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Sharing is caring, so share this video. And as always, thank you for watching.